I know.
Okay.
It's helpful when you want to let people in. But
Or when you have your eyes closed, meditating or something.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. I am Larry Branch, and I am a member of the spiritual community. Our theme for this year is Timeless Vision. This month, our focus is One Journey, Many Paths. The title for the talk today is The Infinite Power of Love. It will be given by Reverend Sunday Cote. Right now, we open our sacred space together, setting our intentions for our service and bringing our awareness to our unity and oneness, which is represented by the one lit candle. Let us close our eyes now as we bless this service today. Together, let us recognize the divine presence that moves through all things. And know that this presence of love expresses as each of us in a unique and beautiful ways. I know that we are blessed by this time together and that we are each renewed in our remembrance of love, peace, wholeness, and connection. I give thanks for everyone in attendance and for everyone who made our service possible today. May the energy of love that is generated here bless us all abundantly. And so it is. Please feel free to add to the chat or in comments any prayer requests that you would like to be included later on in our service in our community spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of affirmative prayer. We turn now to blessing the contributions and donations that are shared today for our center. There are many ways to give. If you will notice at the bottom of the screen, you can text your donation to 703-940-9260, or you can use Cash App by sending it to $CSL Leesburg, or by mailing a check to P.O. Box 1830, Leesburg, Virginia 20177. And if you like using PayPal, send it to info@cslleesburg.org. At CSL, we believe in the law of circulation. We know that all that is shared with our center blesses us all and those who give. We are a tithing community, and in addition to helping us pay our expenses, which continue even though we aren't meeting in person, we also tithe to our home organization as well as to organizations that inspire us and help us to further our vision of helping create a world that works for everyone. We thank you for your support. Let us read together this affirmation at the top of our screen. The presence of Spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And now we move into our time of meditation with Reverend Sunday.
Thank you, Larry. Good
Mhm.
morning, everybody. So we are in the middle of celebrating Black History Month, and we know that Black History Month is really there to kind of fill the gaps of our collective story as a culture and as a country. And I think it's also about celebrating the new history makers, like Amanda Gorman, the first youth poet laureate and the youngest poet to speak at the U.S. inauguration. She speaks so beautifully for our times. She doesn't gloss over the challenges that we're facing, but she still finds hope and inspiration. And so as we reach this 1 year mark dealing with the pandemic, as we come to a close of a challenging political season, as we deal with our emotions and those challenges, let us just meditate on the miracle of the morning. And Amanda Gorman's going to read her poem for us, and we'll then go into a deeper meditation. But begin our meditation with Amanda Gorman.
Hi, I'm Amanda Gorman, and this is my poem, The Miracle of Morning. I thought I'd awaken to a world in mourning, heavy clouds crowding, a society storming, but there's something different on this golden morning, something magical in the sunlight, wide and warming. I see a dad with a stroller taking a jog across the street. A bright-eyed girl chases her dog, a grandma on a porch, fingers her rosaries. She grins as her young neighbor brings her groceries while we might feel small, separate, and all alone. Our people have never been more closely tethered because the question isn't if we can weather this unknown, but how we will weather this unknown together. So, on this meaningful morn, we mourn and we mend like lights we can't be broken, even when we bend as one. We will defeat both despair and disease. We stand with healthcare heroes and all employees, with families, libraries, waiters, schools, artists, businesses, restaurants, and hospitals hit hardest. We ignite not in the light, but in lack thereof. For it is in loss that we truly learn to love. In this chaos, we will discover clarity. In suffering, we must find solidarity, for it's our grief that gives us our gratitude, shows us how to find hope if we ever shall lose it. So ensure that this ache wasn't endured in vain. Do not ignore the pain. Give it purpose. Use it. Read children's books. Dance alone to DJ music. Know that this distance will make our hearts grow fonder. From a wave of woes, our world will emerge stronger. We'll observe how the burdens braved by humankind are also the moments that make us humans kind. Let each dawn find us courageous, brought closer, heeding the lights before the fight is over. When this ends, we'll smile sweetly, finally seeing in testing times we became the best of beings.
So let us just take that into our meditation this morning. If you haven't already, you can close your eyes and just focus on that beautiful imagery that Amanda brings forward of seeing the neighborhood move on and work together, and allow yourself to just drop into your heart whatever emotion might have been evoked. Just allow yourself to observe it. You might just feel into that heart space and let it radiate out throughout your very being. And as we acknowledge whatever we might be feeling emotionally today, we also can draw forth, we can step into the light and draw forth the beauty and the hope that Amanda spoke so beautifully about. We can bring into our heart the love, the ways that we do stay connected, the hope of new connections, new ways of being. And as we do this, let us just expand that experience, that heart space throughout our bodies, and allow it to move into our physical space wherever we are. As we radiate forth this love and this hope and this peace, like a pebble dropped into a quiet pond, we just begin to imagine these ripples of love and hope. this brand new day, this morning, rippling from your heart out into your physical space, to those living beings that are where they're with you, whether they're human or plants or pets. Just allow that energy to radiate forth in love and hope. As this light envelops your home, let it spill out into the neighborhood. As Amanda was sharing about her experience of her neighborhood, you might bring forth thoughts of love for those that share this intimate space, this street with you, your neighbors. Might bring forth a moment, a caring act. Just recently, one of our neighbors plowed our sidewalks for us. And so just allow that love to look for love, look where you can find it. Let us expand now beyond our neighborhoods to our towns. Again, you might remember a story of generosity or support or love. So many healthcare workers, those working so hard to get the vaccinations out. Maybe just simply those who are keeping our grocery stores open, being in service to us. Include yourself in that as well, however you are continuing to help our cities or our towns, our citizens. Let us expand a little further to the state where you reside. All the public officials who are again working to help get a message out, to keep us safe. And then let us expand to the seat of our national office, our capital. And we've seen so many images of challenges there this last week. But let us focus on the courageous people who work to keep it safe, who janitorial staff, the administrative assistants, and the reporters, and the politicians who continue to work for the highest and best for us. And then let us expand this throughout the United States, or wherever you're from, just continue to ripple it out, calling forth places where you have heard of stories, experienced love. Maybe you have family members, loved ones. And finally, just with this beautiful burst of light and love, just see our whole globe surrounded, just enveloped in this light of the new day, the new morning. Sending love wherever it might be needed most. Let us just spend a moment imagining this beautiful earth of ours as we have moved above it and looking at it as though we're suspended in space like an astronaut looking down on this beautiful marble place where everything we know and love exists. And just experience that divine light surrounding it. And then as you've looked at this beautiful pale blue dot, this jewel that's suspended in the universe, Just allow your mind's eye to quickly move back down and find your place sitting in your space, moving back into your physical body, feeling down into your feet. But remain with that sense of love. We end where we began, with this sense of love and compassion and light for yourself within your own heart. So we do begin this day, this new morning, in love and light. And as you come back and open your eyes, we have some beautiful music by Leah to bring us back to our space.
There is always a light when we are ready to see it. There is always a light when we are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night, to climb this hill, together we will. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to see it. There is always a light in the dark. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to see it. There is always a light. There is always a light. We are ready to be it. To see the light, to be the light, to raise our eyes in the dark of night and be a gift. Together we will. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. There is always light. To see the light, to be the light, to shine in the dark of night and be a climb this hill. Together we will. There is always shine. There is always shine. There is always shine. There is always shine. Be the light.
Wow. Thank you, Leah. Also inspired by Amanda Gorman this morning. So thank you, Leah. Well, happy Valentine's Day. We actually get to have Valentine's Day on a Sunday. So the origin of Valentine's Day comes from, I mean, there's lots of legends, but one of them is that it comes from honoring martyred Christian priests. In the year 269 CE, Saint Valentine of Rome was said to have actually healed his jailer's daughter's eyesight before his execution. He befriended her while he was in jail, and he is rumored to have signed a letter to her, and he signed it "Your Valentine," and that's kind of the origins of "Be My Valentine, I'm Your Valentine." And so, of course, the holiday has morphed into a secular and commercialized holiday to honor romantic love, specifically, and all love in general, of course. But setting aside a day to honor love can be a really good thing, I think. And just like all holidays, though, it can bring up emotions. It can bring up sadness about lost relationships or not having one. I remember a few Valentine's days in my day when I was single, working in an office, and where my coworkers are receiving flowers and gifts and talking of their evening plans, and I didn't have any of that. And at those times, I think I probably was thinking, whether I would ever find love again. And so it can be a very big pressure, right? This idea of finding one perfect love of all time, and something that's supposed to last forever. And so what I began to do in those times was, instead of feeling lack of or that love was, not going to be around me at all, excluding me, I began to look for places where I did have love, where I could see it. So I would ask the universe, show me how I am loved. And those times would always come up, loved by my family or by my pet or by my friends, connecting that way. And then show me, how much love is in the world. And of course, when we stop and do that, we of course can find love at any time. And then what happens when we look for that love, we look for the caring, the compassion, then it becomes easier to see. And when we see that love, we can say, I am that too. That if I can see it, I am that. And this, of course, this isn't to disregard the real pain and grief that we might be going through in any moment, but to balance it out. That even though I, at that time in my life, or I felt pain, I could still find it. I could still find some love in my pain. I could, as I talked about last week, step out of the shadow into the light. And even if it was, just to love myself in that moment, just to find that love. So I honor everybody on this day, all the people who are, who I love, who love me, and all of you included. And wherever you might be in your journey of love, know that ultimately, as we say every week at the end of our service, you are love, I am love, you are love, and it's all love. And what do I mean when I say that it's all love? When I say that, I'm not saying it in a naive way, as if everything's all rosy and fine and good, or that I don't see where the challenges are in the world. I'm actually using that word as a noun. I've talked a lot about love being a noun, and an actual thing and energy that is bigger than the individual, that's a part of us. And Dr. Ernest Holmes, I really love what he says about love. It's one of my favorite things that he says. He says, love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love, and that we are God's express likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is eternal givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through us. I love this where he says, love is the central flame. Hey, it's the very fire itself. It is all that there is. And he goes on and clarifies. He doesn't just say it's for us. He says that love pervades all life itself. He says love is an essence, an atmosphere which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. And I just love that Dr. Holmes, when he said that, probably in the 40s or 50s, that he was aware of plants responding to love, that this was something that was coming about, that people were understanding even more, that love exudes not just from us, but from all life itself in some ways. And so, so when I say, all is love, this is what I'm talking about. For me, love is this divine source that moves through us. It's a noun. It's an essence. Dr. Holmes said, the universal sense alone bear witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God. And so I think that this is the foundation of everything we teach. Of course, everything that we know in our own teachings, our own hearts to be true, that there's this universal love energy, this force that moves through all life, that is a part of us that we can access. And also, there's another aspect of love, which I consider a verb. It's the action of love. It's what we do from that place, that universal energy, that love. And so Dr. Holmes said this about love as a verb. He says, it would be difficult, if not impossible, to find any situation, condition, or relationship which does not react to the creative and healing power of love. That it is a healing act, energy that we use to move out into the world. In Tolstoy's letters to Gandhi, he wrote, love is the only way to rescue humanity from its ills. It's the only way. And Gandhi knew this. He knew the power of love as as a force for change. He was a man that was worshipped by millions in his country, and he could have really used that adoration for power. But he said he relied upon what he called love force. He said, I have no weapons against my enemies except love. There was a British statesman who knew Gandhi who said, may the whole world learn from Gandhi's life something of fundamental value, that it is idle to try to save ourselves from destruction by the use of force when our greatest weapon is the supreme and redeeming power of love. So again, this isn't passivity or not demanding change or accountability, but it is the harnessing of that power, that energy of love, harnessing of it to move to make changes in the world. Dr. David Hawkins spent his career measuring the strength of different emotions and thoughts. He believed in the collective power of our thoughts and our emotions, that the more of us who come from love, the more power we have, that collectively, when we all join in this energy of love, that we can change the world. And in fact, he said, every act, thought, and choice adds to a permanent mosaic. Our decisions ripple through the universe of consciousness to affect the lives of all, that every decision we make ripples out. Just like this morning in our meditation, this ripple of love that we move out affects the universe. It affects all lives. Dr. Hawkins, he was convinced that the power of a loving thought far outweighed other thoughts. And he did his own experiments testing the different power of thoughts through kinesiology and other ways. And he went so far to say that the difference between a loving thought and a fearful thought is so enormous as to be beyond the capacity of the human imagination to easily comprehend. And so in his scale of consciousness, he said that a loving thought is 10 to the 750 millionth time more powerful than a fearful one. He talked about how one individual coming from a pure place of love counterbalances 70 million individuals coming from fear. It's pretty powerful. He said one individual coming from a place of peace or acceptance or willingness counterbalances 90,000 individuals coming from shame or guilt or apathy. And he believed that one thought of forgiveness can counteract 90,000 thoughts of blame or anger or despair. And I would say that those are probably our thoughts, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and a lot of them are not very kind to ourselves, and a lot of them are just, are not even at 60,000 a day. It's more than that, I think. It's off the top of my head, I can't remember, but a lot. We think a lot. A lot of our thoughts, like 90% of them, are the same thoughts, and they're challenging. So if we can just add a few thoughts a day of forgiveness or love, we can totally transform ourselves and then also transform others in this collective way. So again, I want to emphasize that this isn't about denying our negative emotions, not about spiritual bypassing, or not about honoring our fear or anger. It's about the unhealthy, unprocessed emotions, or the guilt or the shame or the negative emotions that flare up about who we are, the essence of who we are, that we can have our emotions, we can move through them. And some of the ways that we can do that is by acknowledging them, allowing them, speaking about them, getting help for them, and also this power of moving to a place of love, moving to a place of understanding that noun love that moves us through us, that gives us this value. So I don't know if Dr. Hawkins' work can be, scientifically proven outside of his own studies, but I do know in my own life that it is certainly true that when I come from a place of love and forgiveness, people around me change. I know that when lots of people come together in love during an emergency or a challenging time, lives are saved. I certainly know that when I turn thoughts of love and compassion toward myself, I am changed. For our love must include ourselves. We must include ourselves in this process. When we think about love and who deserves love and giving love out in the world, it has to begin with us. We are as valuable to this process as anyone. The Buddha said, you can search throughout the entire universe for someone who's more deserving of your love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found anywhere. So you can search throughout the entire universe for somebody more deserving of your own love and affection than you are yourself. And that person is not to be found. This is such a foundational idea for us to be able to realize that when we're giving out in love, when we're expressing it, that it is that turning in towards the self-love, the self-compassion, that is the transformation and power. Because we can't give out to the world what we don't have. We can't give out to the world what is not available to us. We can certainly give, but it depletes us. We don't allow ourselves to regenerate it. So we have to be able to recognize ourselves in this as well. So Dr. Holmes, I love he talks about this. This is one of my favorite things that he says in the textbook. He says, that we should definitely daily, using our own name, declare the truth about ourselves, realizing that we are reflecting statements into consciousness, and that they will be operated upon by this. So this is called in mysticism high invocation, invoking the divine mind, implanting within it seeds of thought relative to oneself. We're invoking this divine mind and planting into it seeds of thought of our own goodness, of relative to ourselves. And this is why he says, some teachers of olden times, at his time, saying that they're olden times, used to instruct their pupils to cross their hands over their chest and say, "Wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful me." I just love that. I would love to have seen Ernest Holmes doing that. Teaching them that as they mentally held themselves, so we would be held. Act as though I am and I will be. So that's a wonderful assignment for all of us on this Valentine's Day. Hug your loved ones. Make sure you honor the loved ones around you, but hug yourself and just feel into that wonderful, wonderful me, that I am a divine expression of this love energy, and I'm worthy of that love. This month's theme is one journey, many paths. And definitely love is a part of all journeys. And so, we're all on a journey. We're all on kind of the same journey to discover ourselves and to understand life and God. And there are many ways to get there. But there's only one way. There isn't only one way. But what I know in my own studies is that there's only one valid path for me, and it's one that's based on love. That if my path doesn't include love, doesn't include this divine expression of love, doesn't include love for myself and for others, then it's not a valid path for me. And so I agree with Don Juan and his teachings to Carlos Castaneda when he said, look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary. Then ask yourself and yourself alone one question. So the question is one that only a very old man asks. My benefactor told me about it once when I was young and my blood was too vigorous for me to understand it. But I'm going to suggest you say it anyway, because no one here is a very old man. Now I do understand it, he says. I will tell you what it is. Does this path have heart? Does this path have heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. It's of no use. And so I remind you today, as we're thinking about this love, to just ask that question. Ask the universe to show you how you were loved. Focus on that. Show how much love there is in the world, and know that as you do that, you are bringing that awareness that we're calling those 60,000 thoughts that we have, and finding the ones that bring us closer to this awareness of being able to really embody this idea of wonderful, wonderful me. When I see it, when I see it out in the world, I can say, and that means me. That means me too. So let's take this idea of heart and love into our prayer time today. And just going to check on our chat if we have any prayer requests while we move into our time of prayer. All right. So let's just close our eyes and just with that image of what that divine presence is, that there's a loving energy, a loving essence. It's the very fire itself. This is God. This is what we do in our prayer time, is to recognize that, to stop and remember it. It's always there. We're not calling it forth. We're not conjuring it up. We're not claiming some truth that we hope may be true. We're recognizing it. We're remembering it. It is already there. I remember at this very moment. I stop and remember the divine presence, the divine essence of love that is God itself, that is spirit, that is the universe. And I recognize that because it's everywhere present all around me, then that must mean me too. If I can see it, if I can see this expression of God out in the world, then I am a part of it. I see it within myself. So I now acknowledge and know that if all there is this divine presence, this divine love, it must also be within me, that I am an expression of that love. Wonderful, wonderful me, an expression of this divine essence. And as I know this for myself, as I claim it to be true, as I recognize and unify with this divine truth, I know it for each person within the sound of my voice, whether they're personally live in this room or listening to this some other place or some other time, that there is a divine essence in each person. I know it without a doubt, that that expression, that wonderful, wonderful expression of the divine is within each of us. And so because I can claim that truth, I can also declare that those qualities of the divine that we wish to experience, love and peace and wholeness and health, happiness, joy, those are the qualities that I choose to turn towards in this minute, that I step out of the darkness into the light, and I know this truth, that there is love within me and within the world. And this week and beyond, I continue to look for it, to see it, to know it, to bring it forth in grander and beautiful ways. I know those who might not be feeling that this morning, maybe those who just can't even see it. I just know this for you. And so I know that anybody who has a prayer today, anybody who is experiencing a challenge, that there is a divine truth, a divine answer, a divine knowingness, there's support and love in any way. And those celebrating love today, I celebrate with you. And I know that there is a divine truth moving through all of us in this most special day. And so with love and gratitude, I speak this word. I know it is already done. I let it go with ease and joy, to wait to see how much more love there is in life itself coming back to me and coming back to each of us. So I let it go. I let it be. We know this together by just simply saying, and so it is. And we celebrate again with some beautiful music from Leah. In just a moment.
But I received the invitation to write this song as I sat down with my friend Tom, and we were going to write a song together, and we just ran out of time. Life said, nope, that's it, that's your session, you're going to have time to catch up. But thankfully, Tom planted the song seed in my mind, and the song was born. So I got to give Tom partial credit, because the song wouldn't have happened without his specific invitation. My friend John, well, he's a decent man. He's got an open heart, but he ain't got a plan. He's a ship without the sail, like a straw without the bale, and that seems like a shame. I say to John, everybody knows that song, and we all got the right to sing who's done us wrong, to throw up both our hands when life don't need demands, when it feels it's all in vain. Don't give in, you're not here on your own. You, my friend, are walking. You're just like me, you're walking. Everybody here is walking. We're all walking each other home. My friend Jan, she's a woman of the world, but life used to have a spark when she was a little girl. The sun, the moon, the stars, they never felt so far, 'cause she held them in her hand. I say, Jan, girl, nothing's really changed except the way you've shrunk yourself, fit inside this tiny frame. When your life's a work of art, to create with all your heart, like only you can. This I know, I'm working on one myself. Girl, you know I'm walking. I'm just like you, I'm walking. Everybody here is walking. We're all walking each other home. Take your time. Take your time. It's alright. We'll get there by and by. Oh, we're walking. Everyone we know is walking. Yes, we are. Skipping, crying, flying, talking, while we're walking each other home.
Beautiful, Leah. Thank you so much. Always love your music. You always have just the right message for us. So that's what love's about, right? Just walking each other home. That's beautiful. So our beautiful practitioner, minister in training, Charlene, does her dream group on Tuesday mornings at 9 Eastern. And I offer Unified Mindfulness Practice Group on Thursday mornings at 9. Everyone's welcome. You can find those links at cslleesburg.org. Just click on the link for events and see you there this week. And this week is our convention. It's virtual this year, but Renee and I are going. We're going and going to represent CSL Leesburg at our convention, and it'll be an exciting time. So let us just do our affirmation that we always do, and with a renewed appreciation. So close your eyes, put your hand over your heart, and just say out loud, I am love. And open your eyes and see whoever you might see, wherever you are love, you are love. And let's just know this truth that it is all love, all love. Send some love sprinkles to everybody. If you want to join us for pearls, if you're not already on our Zoom group and you want to come and join us, come and click on that link on our cslleesburg.org Zoom link. You can come and share pearls and have some social time with each other. So have a happy Valentine's Day. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.